Recently, we saw the third installment of the so called No Kings protest. The mainstream media is calling it a historic uprising. But if you look past the high definition cameras and the celebrity cameos, what we actually saw was a massive, well funded temper tantrum against the results of a fair election. And while many think that it's grassroots, this proves, however, that it was nothing but astroturf.
A few weeks ago, CNN reported No Kings rallies just popped up nationwide. A Fox News digital investigation shows nearly $250,000 went to professional vendors to build a sophisticated operation in St. Paul, Minnesota. It didn't just pop up, did it? Watch.
It would be somewhere in the realm of like we do a country festival in Detroit Lakes called We Fest every year. I mean, like Journey or like, I don't know, whatever, Def Leppard, like kind of shows that would have happened at like Target Field. I was aware of it on the horizon maybe about 2 months before it started as a possibility.
That was $250,000 for that so-called pop-up operation in St. Paul.
So they knew about it months in advance, and the price for this one event was 250,000. Grassroots is supposed to be something that occurs within and by the community. It's sparked by local events and independent activists. However, details have come out that this was anything but local. George Soros's Open Society Foundations have given millions to groups in this list like Indivisible, ACLU, and Move On. Communist billionaire Neville Roy Singham, who lives in China, by the way, has donated millions to groups like the People's Forums and Answer Coalition, who provided training and organize and advertise these protests, all funded through Singham's nonprofit network. So, how can something be grassroots if it's just implemented by those outside the community, especially those living in China?
Fox News digital senior editor of investigations is Azra Naman and joins me now. You did the investigation. It seems like this was a huge production. Who organized it and who paid for it?
Well, this is the image that most people that organized it only wanted you to see. This little lovely king throne with a X through it, because their argument is no king. But what I did is, as a reporter, I got the permit, and this is the permit that was given out to a group called Indivisible. And so Indivisible is a multi-million-dollar nonprofit, a PAC. It's across the country, and they've just typically been centrist Democrats. But then what I did is when I went there, I went to St. Paul, and I started examining the vendors who were there. And that's how I ended up meeting the man that you just watched, Matt Svobodny, who's with a group called, organization called Slamhammer. They brought the mobile stage. They brought the ballistic barriers to prevent bullets from coming through to the stage. They brought the speakers, cables, a mile of cables, and then there were a total of 9 vendors, and that bill ended up being $250,000. And so, just like you said, Stu, it was not something that just popped up. It was a very sophisticated protest infrastructure that pulled off this No Kings protest in St.
I mean, look at all this stuff right here. You got Slammer Sound and Row Case, mobile stage, 100,000, jumbo screens, 20,000 jumbo screens, stage screens, electric distributions, obviously chairs, tables, high-speed internet, all this totaling $250,000. And the individual putting up together the set that knew about it a couple months in advance was saying, yeah, it's like the scale of setting up for a rock concert. I think you mentioned Def Leppard, something like that, right? So definitely not a grassroots thing. And this is pretty crazy, right? I mean, imagine thinking this is something that you can just have sprung out of the heartland and the spirits of your fellow Americans, right? Fueling this. You know, is this American made? Is this American grown? Is it local grassroots? Really, I don't think so. I mean, it certainly would explain why so many don't understand what they're protesting.
No Kings hit Manhattan.
happen this weekend, so we sent our very own Prince to infiltrate the rally.
No King's Day!
No freaking kings!
No Kings in the USA!
No King's Day! Woo!
Yeah! No King's Day!
What are we gonna do to the king?
Gonna shut him down.
How are we gonna shut him down?
Impeachment.
If there's impeachment, that means there's a Congress and Donald Trump can't be a king.
Right.
Right. Why is Donald Trump a king?
Because he's nuts.
He smells funny.
For real? Is that a question?
Because he has repeatedly overused his he's trying to abuse this world and try to make this place all about him.
Why are you asking me this? You know the answer.
What's the answer?
You know it.
What is it?
You know the answer.
So many people showed up.
Imagine if they showed up like this for Kamala.
People showed up for Kamala.
Did that go the way you thought it was going to go? Nope.
What is one action that Donald Trump took that is impossible to do under the Constitution, but he did it anyway?
I can't name specific laws, I'm sorry. I lost a lot of thought on that.
You're a reporter, so why don't you do your homework? Don't ask me.
Went to war.
Legally, he could do that.
You can?
Oh, putting ice in our cities.
Legally, he could put ice in cities.
I don't really give about legally. Rename the Kennedy Center.
Which amendment under the Constitution is he prohibited to renaming the Kennedy Center?
Yeah, crickets would be right in this reaction to all this. And just when Fox couldn't find anyone who could explain to them why they were there or why Trump was a king, they found this gentleman.
I refer you to the New York Times 2 days ago. They had a list of 30 items.
And you read it.
I read it, absolutely.
So what is one thing from that list?
One thing from that list is I'm blanking.
So you'd think that someone who took the time to read about how Trump was a king, make a sign, and brave the cold weather to make their voices heard could say at least one thing proving how Trump was a king. One action, one anything, but nothing. He had nothing. And yet these protesters are making one message clear, that Trump is not a king. A king, let alone a fascist, as they like to also call him, would never let their subjects go out in the streets and protest like this. They claim he's destroying the Constitution, but they're exercising their constitutional right by going out in the streets and, well, peacefully protesting, I guess you could say, and making their voices heard. In fact, Trump himself had something to say about this recent No Kings rally. A huge thank you to all the No Kings protesters yesterday. I was very concerned a king was trying to take my place. But thanks to all your tireless efforts, I am still your president. Great job, all. And you know, I was concerned too.